Once upon a time in New York, a newspaper published a series of stories claiming astronomers had found life on the moon. Not just any life. We're talking unicorns, moon beavers, and bat people with bouncy features. And the public? They bought every word of it. Society had a full-on lunar meltdown. Professors cited them in actual research papers. Churches asked if they should send Bibles or bug spray. One guy even mailed a love letter to a bat lady he'd never met. And after 6 articles, the paper finally admitted it was fake. But sales tripled. The world would come to know it as the Great Moon Hoax of 1835. Here's what happened. The story claimed all this lunar madness came from a British astronomer, Sir John Herschel, and his assistant, Dr. Andrew Grant, who, fun fact, didn't exist. He was a fictional man, made up by a very real journalist named Richard Locke, aka the Shakespeare of space bullshit. He name-dropped Herschel like quoting Newton at a bar would actually get you a phone number. Back in 1835, that actually worked. According to the article, the moon wasn't some lifeless rock. It was booming with entire ecosystems. Oceans, beaches, glowing plants, volcanoes, gently vaping with chill vibes. And animals, herds of glowing unicorns, zebras with horns, and something that kind of looked like a lion if you squinted through a full-blown hallucination. Science? Nah. This was a Victorian wet dream on LSD, armed with a telescope and a press pass. But wait, there's more. Enter moon bison and blue goats. Just your average alien wildlife, right? Wrong. 'Cause then came the beavers. Civilized beavers. Beavers that walked on 2 legs, built little huts, and worshipped crystals like hippies. Beavers who probably had a podcast about chakra alignment and casually dabbled in lunar herbs on the weekend. God, I wish I was making this up. I was reading it and, I don't know, man, I could feel my brain cells dying. Just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, it got oddly intimate. Meet the moonbats. 4 foot tall, golden-skinned, intelligent, winged, with an aura so magnetic, Grandpa had to pretend he was adjusting his trousers. The paper called them Vespertilio Homo because brilliant bat babe with big features didn't sound academic enough. They were described as peaceful, philosophical, and allergic to clothes. The drawings showed them frolicking in gardens, reading, bathing, touching wings, or whatever it is they do for flirting. Here's the wild part. The paper sold like hotcakes. People crowded the streets, passing the article around like it was Moses' stone tablet, annotated by a pervert. Other newspapers saw the madness and went, "Hell yeah, we'll print it too." Professors held lectures on beaver economics. Priests debated whether the bat people had souls. No one stopped and said, "Wait a minute. This sounds like someone licked a toad." They just nodded and said, "Science is amazing." Meanwhile, Sir John Herschel, who was off doing actual astronomy in South Africa, got wind of the story and went, "I discovered what?" But by then, the public didn't care. Every attempt to fact-check was met with, "Shh, the moon beavers are meditating." His friends were like, "Bro, we brought snacks. Now fire up the telescope. Let's peep at those lunar goods." Get out of my observatory. The man didn't know whether to sue, cry, or lick a crystal and aim his telescope at the sun. And just when people started asking for proof, boom! The observatory spontaneously combusts, like it was allergic to fact-checking. The telescope, the notes, the bat sketches, all mysteriously reduced to ash. Funny how fire only burns the stuff you can't replace. And the public? They didn't question the timing. They wept, like a teenager whose secret stash just went up in flames. The newspaper pulled off the perfect escape, with just enough smoke and just enough bullshit to keep selling the paper. But eventually, everyone found out. The entire thing was cooked up by one bored journalist, with too much ink and a raging obsession with bad science. But when the hoax was exposed, did people riot, burn down the newspaper, demand refunds for imaginary bat erotica? Nah, they just leaned in and said, "Neat, do it again." The paper thrived. So, what did we learn today? People will believe anything if it's printed in bold and comes with a diagram, preferably a curvy one. This wasn't just a prank. It was the birth of clickbait, delivered by a journalist, a fake scientist, and one hell of a telescope fire. And for a few glorious weeks, humanity believed the moon had bats, beavers, and a civilization that refused to wear pants. Honestly, Still more grounded than half the crap trending on TikTok right now.